can't wait to get started. As kid mayor, I believe every kid in this city deserves safe places to play, more parks, more indoor spaces where kids can be kids, no matter the weather, places where families feel safe and kids can just have fun. Tonight we're talking about the Toledo we're bidding for 2045, when we host the U.S. Open and people from all over the world get to see how special Toledo is. I'll be 29 years old in 2045. I'll have graduated high school and college, grown up, and started my life right here in Toledo. And that's why I'm here tonight, because Toledo is my home, and I want to help build the city I'm going to grow up in. Now it's my honor to introduce someone who shares that same goal. Please welcome Councilwoman Erin Kramer.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Toledo is lucky to have you. Good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to be here tonight. I grew up in South Toledo, not far from where I eventually came back to raise my own 3 kids. I was raised in a union household by a father who bravely served in Vietnam, where the values of hard work and service were woven into everything that we did. Those values are why I chose to run for Toledo City Council and why I'm in this room tonight. I came back to Toledo in 2007 because this city is a great place to raise a family. Affordable, welcoming, and full of people who look out for each other. I chose to return because I saw the opportunity this city would afford my family and me. Every day in my work at Owens Community College, I see students from across Northwest Ohio choosing to invest in futures here. My job is to recruit them, to show them what's possible, not just for today, but for their future. But recruitment doesn't stop at enrollment. We need those graduates to plant roots, to build careers, families, and lives right here in Toledo. Because growth isn't just an economic metric. It's people choosing Toledo. And for people to choose Toledo, they need to feel empowered here. They need opportunity, and they need to feel safe. Gun violence prevention has been central to my work for nearly a decade, because neighborhoods where families feel safe are neighborhoods where people want to stay, where businesses want to invest, and where kids, like Jamie, get to grow up with the futures that they deserve. That is the Toledo that we are building, and the work to get there is already underway. We are investing in projects that will reshape Toledo for the next generation. We're earning national recognition for our attractions, and we're making the city safer every day. Momentum is on our side, and Mayor Wade Kapzukiewicz, along with Toledo City Council, has a clear vision for what this city can become and a plan to get us there. It is my great honor to introduce the mayor of the city of Toledo. Please welcome Mayor Wade Kapzukiewicz.
Mom showed up with the
She
family,
did,
right?
yes, she did.
Good for her. Well, I want to say thank you, first of all, to Councilwoman Kramer for those wonderful words of introduction. I want to thank all the members of City Council who are here. I see many of them, Councilman Driscoll and Comives, our President, Council President Benny's Williams, Councilman Hobbs, Meldon, Sarantu. If I'm missing any others, let me know. I don't think I am. So I want to thank all of those members of council. I want to thank our kid mayor, Jamie Howard, who did a fantastic job with her remarks. You know, she's the 5th kid mayor I've had a chance to work with. And I don't know that public speaking is something she would have volunteered for. You know, there's a little shyness in there, but I think she did a fantastic job in what was her 2nd example of public speaking. want to thank all of you for being here this evening, but in particular, two people sitting in the front row. I don't want to forget my wife, Sarah, long-suffering wife, Sarah. It'll be 25 years this summer, is with us. And sitting next to her, on the other side of Councilman Saranto, is my dad, Walter, who is a retired Toledo police officer, a Navy veteran, and on Friday turns 80 years old. So happy birthday, Dad. Not exactly sure why he's here. I hope I didn't do something wrong, but I'm glad you're here. Those of us who know Toledo and love Toledo understand that, you know, a lot of our charm comes from the fact that we are an affordable, mid-sized, family-friendly sort of place. I joke that, look, we don't have the New York Yankees, we have the Toledo Mud Hens, and we love the Mud Hens, especially after they almost threw a no-hitter on opening day. We know what we are and we enjoy it. And so part of our attraction is our size and that kind of mid-sized, you know, minor league-ish friendliness that just fits in to a little niche of affordability. And that is, I think, our calling card more often than not. However, there are some things in our community that aren't minor league. They aren't middle-sized. They are as good as anything that you would find anywhere in this country. They are true, top-of-the-line, world-class, don't have to take a backseat to anyone kind of amenities. Now, and I could list a lot of them, but I'm going to just focus on 5 that roll off the tongue pretty easily. Our metro parks are certainly best in class, best in our country. We know how good they are. We know that they win awards for their excellence. Our zoo is one of the best, if not the best, in the entire country. Our museum certainly is on that list of world-class, top-of-the-line amenities. Last 2 years in a row, they were voted the best museum in the entire country. Right across the street from that museum, 2 years from right now, the American Numismatic Society, which is the organization that houses the rarest of rare coins in our country, is going to locate there on Parkwood, right across the museum. The society was founded 2 years before the Civil War, and they have been located in Midtown Manhattan for the last 167 years. And they have decided that they've had about enough of Midtown Manhattan, and they are moving their literally priceless collection of coins to Toledo, Ohio. And they're going to be investing $20 million along the way to make improvements to that building. Over 1 million of the rarest coins on earth are going to be in Toledo. That's not minor leagues. That's not mid-size. That's not small potatoes. That's as good as it gets. And that's something that we can be proud of in Toledo. And I suppose in the interest of time, I'll stop at 5. The 5th thing that I think is top of the line, world-class, don't have to take a backseat to anyone, is the golf course that we have in West Toledo on Dorr Street, the Inverness Club. A few weeks ago, the USGA, which stands for the United States Golf Association, announced that Inverness, which has hosted major championships in the past, is going to be hosting at least 6 more national championships over the next 20 years. Now, this is going to begin next summer when the U.S. Women's Open is held at Inverness, but it is going to culminate in 2045, as our kid mayor mentioned, with the U.S. Open. Inverness has hosted U.S. Opens in the past, true, but it's been a while. The first one we hosted was in 1920. There was another one in 1931, then 1957. The most recent one is 1979. So it's been a while, and I'll get back to what that means in a second, but I first want to define what we're talking about here. The U.S. Open for golf is as big an event as exists in that sport. It is the Super Bowl of golf. It is the Stanley Cup final of golf. It's the World Series of golf. In other words, to continue my analogy from earlier, this actually is the New York Yankees. It's not the Mud Hens. This is as big as it gets for this sport. Obviously, this is a big deal, and this is exciting for golf fans or if you follow golf. But even if you don't, even if you've never picked up a golf club, even if you've never so much as gone to putt-putt, you should be excited about what this means for Toledo and why it is happening. First of all, the fact of the matter is the economic impact of this event is staggering. Last year, the U.S. Open was held at a course called Oakmont, just outside of Pittsburgh in Allegheny County. It generated nearly $300 million of revenue for the entire state of Pennsylvania, but 2/3 of that, $200 million of it, went just to the county that the golf course is located in. So $200 million went to Allegheny County. Remember the fun we had a couple years ago with the Solheim Cup? What a big deal that was. You remember this? We tried to upgrade our audio-visual game this year, and it's going to involve pretty soon a bag of $40 million falling on the screen. And I noticed we were so excited that the 40 million was already there. So we're building. It's only taken us 8 years to get to moving graphics, and we screwed up our first opportunity. But it was a great event, right? It might have been the best event of a generation. It was probably the biggest, most exciting event in a generation in Toledo. It was, I think that's probably the Gwen Stefani concert that happened right around that time. And as the dropping bag of money tried to show you earlier, and there it is. All right, we've worked out the kinks. Way to go. It brought in $40 million to our community. Okay, big deal. Biggest event in a generation, $40 million into our community. Undeniably a big thing. Just so we understand what this U.S. Open means, even if you're not a golf fan, we're talking about an event 5 times larger, and 5 bags of money fall on the Inverness Club. Okay, we did, that applause should go to Rachel, who is the mastermind behind our moving graphics system for the evening. So, but it's maybe a lighter point, but the point is real. We're talking the Solheim Cup, biggest event in a generation, the vibe, the excitement, Gwen Stefani, all this stuff. Imagine multiplying that by 5. That is what this event will be. The Solheim Cup brought about 130,000 people to our community. The U.S. Open will bring more than twice that, somewhere between 250,000, upwards of 300,000 people. So that's 270,000 people, more than double the biggest event in a generation. 270,000 is roughly the size of the city of Buffalo. So imagine every man, woman, and child in Buffalo, New York, being picked up and dumped in Toledo for a week in June of 2045. For that week in 2045, Toledo will double in size. Now just think about that for a moment, even if you're not a golf fan, what that will mean for our community, for our economy, and just the way we think about ourselves. Here's the point I'm trying to make. It's actually not about golf. I've been in the room where these conversations have happened, probably since within my first 6 months as mayor. Don't get me wrong, I had nothing to do. I wish I had something to do with bringing the U.S. Open here. Folks like John Swigert from Spartan Chemical, he deserves a lot of the credit for why this is happening. But I've been involved in the conversations, and being at the periphery of this process, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about how decisions like this are made. And here's what I learned, and here's the point I want you to take away from this sort of opening conversation. Inverness has always been a course good enough to host a U.S. Open. It has hosted U.S. Opens. It's hosted 4 of them. It's hosted a couple PGAs. It's hosted major events. This is where Jack Nicklaus golfed in his first U.S. Open. It has always been a course good enough to host the Super Bowl of golf. The Masters starts tomorrow. Inverness is longer than Augusta National. It's a more difficult golf course. Golf Magazine has been ranking the best golf courses in America since 1969. Inverness has always been on the list. This was never, the delay and why it has been so long since Inverness has gotten a U.S. Open was never about the golf course. Golf course was always good enough. The perception has been, however, that Toledo wasn't good enough. That Toledo just was kind of minor league-ish, that maybe that this opportunity had passed us by, that we didn't have the economic vitality, the infrastructure, the hotels, frankly, the wealth to be able to host, again, the Super Bowl of this sport. Look at where some recent U.S. Opens have been played. The U.S. Open this June is going to be in a course called Shinnecock Hills. Well, that's in New York. A couple years ago, it was in a course called Winged Foot. It's in New York. A couple years before that, it was in a course very uncreatively called the Country Club. Well, that's located in Boston. It's been at Torrey Pines. Where's that? In San Diego, the Riviera Country Club. In LA, the Marion Golf Club. In Philadelphia. You notice a theme here? You notice a pattern? This is an event so big that it is only held typically in New York and San Diego and LA, in these big mega cities, typically on an ocean. That is what the bigwigs in Midtown Manhattan who make this decision, that's what they want. They wouldn't host, it doesn't matter how good Inverness is, they wouldn't host this championship in a city that they didn't believe in, that they didn't see headed the right direction. The fact of the matter is the US Open coming to Inverness says as much about Toledo and how people increasingly are seeing Toledo than it has to do with the golf course. Golf course has always been excellent. What's different here is the way people are looking, important people are looking at Toledo. It is an oddity of how the USGA does things, and there's been some snickering about how far away this US Open is. It is 19 years in the future. Well, that's because the USGA has scheduled, I'm not making this up, like the next 35 years of US Opens have all been scheduled. So if you want to know where the 2051 US Open is going to be, go on their website and it'll tell you. For whatever reason, their business model is they like scheduling these things out years in advance. Fine. Here's my point on that. That means I can tell you right now, since these things have all been scheduled, that for the lifetimes of basically everyone in this room, except our kid mayor, the US Open will never, in our lifetimes, appear again in Chicago. We'll never see a US Open in San Francisco. They're not bringing the US Open to Houston. It's not going to Dallas. You'll never see it in Phoenix or Atlanta. Denver ain't getting one. St. Louis isn't hosting the US Open. Neither is Minneapolis, Miami, or Washington. But you know where there will be a US Open? Toledo, Ohio. That says something about our city, whether you like golf or not. That is what is important. The fact of the matter is that the rest of the world is starting to notice the good things that we're doing here. They are choosing Toledo. They're choosing Toledo. That's why this Super Bowl of golf that typically goes to the New Yorks and the LAs of the world is choosing Toledo. It's not the course, it's because of what Toledo is becoming. That's why the rarest collection of coins in our country, which since 2 years before the Civil War has been in Manhattan, has said, we're done with Manhattan. I see something in that town in Ohio that I want to be a part of. We have done some things, some really good things to put Toledo back on the map, to put Toledo on the forefront of people's minds again, maybe in a way that it hasn't been for a while. But now we have to finish the work, and now we have a deadline. You might remember last year's State of the City. When people arrived on their chairs, there were little sort of pretend newspapers talking about what the city of Toledo might look like in the year 2040. Fact of the matter is, we kind of just plucked 2040 out of thin air. There was nothing special about it. It was 15 years into the future, seemed like a round number. So we picked 2040, and everything was, all of our goals and our North Stars and everything that we want the city to be, we pegged at 2040. I'm going to call an audible here on the fly. I guess basically if the entire city of Buffalo is going to be picked up and plopped in Toledo, Ohio in June of 2045, if our city will double in size for a week in 2045, now we have a new deadline. We got a 5-year extension. The USGA has given us a 5-year extension. Now 2045 is our deadline. I think it makes a lot of sense. When the entire world comes to our city, that's the year we got to be ready for. The question is, when the world comes to Toledo in 2045, what will they find? What will our city look like? What will our city be? Our North Star, as we announced last year, a slightly different year, but our North Star is still the same. It is time for us to grow again, and we need to be a city of 300,000 people in 2045. But to answer that question of what these folks are going to find when they get here, we have to know where we are now and what we have to do to build toward that goal. So where are we now? Any fair appraisal of where we want to go has to begin with where we are now. And any fair appraisal of where we are now has to be honest. It can't just focus on the good things. We got to focus on everything, the good and the bad. Now, I'm one who believes, and I've said it a lot, that I think Toledo does take 2 steps forward for every step back. We are making progress, but we're not perfect. Sometimes we stumble and have to dust ourselves and get back up and keep moving. So there's good and bad we're going to talk about, but I think there's more good than bad. At any rate, I'm an optimist, so I'm going to start with the good. Let's start about start with some of the good things that I think are happening in this community right now and are trending the right direction. And then, to be honest and fair, we'll get to some of our challenge, but we're starting with the good. When I think of the good things, the first thing that comes to my mind is where we are globally on an economic development standpoint. Now, this does not mean that every neighborhood feels it or every person feels it, but I will say it is worth noting that 9 out of the last 12 years, we have ended up in the top 10 in the nation, according to Site Selection Magazine, which is the Bible of the job selection community for new business investment. Not top 10 in Ohio, not top 10 in the Great Lakes, but top 10 in the entire nation in terms of new business investment. Why? Well, we have reimagined ourselves. We've done it on the fly, and we're gonna have to do it again. When I say reimagined, what do I mean? Well, maybe a trip down memory lane will be helpful here. Remember when the old Jeep site looked like this? It did look like that. The Jeep site was on it beginning in 1910, and it was there till about the year 2000, and then it went vacant for a long time. You drive by there now, it doesn't look like this, it looks like this. A new modern supplier park, tier 1 supplier to the auto industry, almost 3,000 jobs. Remember when the old Gulf oil refinery, literally right across the river in East Toledo looked like this? Now what does it look like? It looks like this with Cleveland Cliffs. And I will say, among the wonderful accomplishments, this site has proven that there is an opportunity for Democrats and Republicans to come together, because this project is so exciting and it means so much to presidents of both political parties that in the last 5 years we've had cabinet members from both parties visit. So Pete Buttigieg, who was in Joe Biden's cabinet, visited and had a big news conference, and a couple months ago J.D. Vance, the vice president under President Trump, visited it and had a news conference. So there is hope for bipartisanship after all, and I guess it begins in Toledo, Ohio, because we can do things that actually do the impossible, and that's bringing Democrats and Republicans together. Remember when the textile leather Medcore site looked like this? Now there's a vehicle customization site with 300 jobs that serve the Jeep plant. Remember when my first year as mayor, I inherited a couple vacant empty malls. Southwick used to look like this. Now it looks like this. And the Northtown Mall used to look like this. Now when you go by, you will see Mobis, another tier 1 supplier to the auto industry, has a building there with 185 jobs. I'm going to come back to that site in a moment, but I want to leave you with one more before and after. Remember when Westgate looked like this? Actually, Westgate still looks like this because the Elder Beerman and the Sears are gone. But if you want to take out a pen and make a note in your calendars, something very exciting is going to be happening on May 5th, when Councilman Meldon and I and others are going to announce the new retailers who are going to be coming to that site and that are going to turn the site that looks like this right now into this. You will notice that this architectural rendering is so far away that it does not reveal the names of who's coming, because under penalty of death, I'm told I'm not allowed to tell. I will say these are new retailers, new to the region, including some that people have been begging for years. It's going to be exciting, and it's part of how we have reinvented our space over the time. But you know what? The momentum continues. Remember last, I think it was October, the Foundation Steel acquired the 50,000 square foot Ohio plate glass building, sort of right underneath the Anthony Wayne Bridge. That's going to be their headquarters, and they're moving it from Swanton into Toledo. They're going to have their headquarters there and also offices for Mosier. The Mosier aspect of this is a little fun too. Our kind of big suburban industrial park in this community, Arrowhead Park, was in part built by Mosier in 1982. So there is a symmetry of, so one of the companies that helped lead the suburbanization flow of 40 years ago is now committing, to having a presence in the core. That momentum is moving toward urban America in an exciting way. And so to see them a part of it makes a lot of sense. It's a $10 million investment, and it is going to bring 45 new jobs from Swanton into Toledo. I don't know if Danny Demarkowski is here or not. There was a notion, I think he is, and he's waving. There he is. So I want to thank him for his commitment to for his commitment to Toledo and what that symbolizes for our community. Now, what he said, among the things he said when he made that decision, was that they wanted to be a part of the excitement of what the Riverwalk is. Everyone knows what the Metro Parks have done along the river, the Glass City Metro Park, et cetera. He specifically mentioned that it is an amenity that would be important to his employees. This is an opportunity to take out your pens and make another little mark on your calendar. June 13th, the Metro Parks are having a big party. They're calling it Watershed Weekend because they are halfway done with those $200 million of improvements from bridge to bridge, both sides of the river. They're halfway done that weekend. And so on Saturday, June 13th, they're having a big, I think the technical word is to do. So that'll be a fun place to be. And it talks about, we're seeing the economic benefit of things like that. Today in the media, you may have read about the exciting news of another business choosing Toledo. And it's a business that's already chosen Toledo, but it's chosen to continue its commitment to our city, and that's Owens Corning. Owens Corning is a Fortune 500 company. The first Fortune 500 list came out in January of 1955. There has never been a Fortune 500 list without Owens Corning on it. They've been on every single one. Since January of 1955, they have never failed to be on that list. They've always been a part of Toledo, and going forward, they will continue to be a part of Toledo. It's a 30-year commitment. They're going to invest $250 million into modernizing their world headquarters. They're going to retain the roughly 1,000 high-paying jobs they have now. They're going to add more. And importantly, they're going to allow the Glass City Riverwalk to be completed on their own campus. We may have read recently about General Motors announcing a $40 million investment at what used to be called Powertrain. Now it's the Propulsion Center over on Alexis Road in West Toledo. And again, going back now to what we call the Toledo Trade Mart, but I still refer to as the Northtown Mall. Mobus is there. So to the right of the screen, that skinnier building is where Mobus is now. But now you see a second building, twice the size, that is being built this year. A developer has come in and is investing $39 million. It is paying for that building. The building that Mobus went into was already there. It was a spec building. This site is so desirable, and Toledo is being chosen by so many different businesses and people on different occasions that they're going to drop $39 million to build a building twice the size to, again, put in a tier 1 supplier to the auto industry. That construction, you're going to see it this year, and those jobs in the business will open by the end of next year, 2027. When we talk about the sort of good news, the good economic energy that we have right now in our community, we can't not talk about the news from last fall that Stellantis has decided to invest $400 million into the Jeep plant, adding 900 more jobs within 2 years to develop a new mid-sized truck. Those 900 jobs are real. It's a big deal. There are a lot of communities in this country that are struggling and hoping that their iconic employer stays open. We are in the opposite situation. Or not only, Jeep ain't going anywhere. In fact, it's getting bigger. That's exciting. We're going to double back to Jeep and talk about it in a slightly different way in a few minutes. But it's part of a generally encouraging economic trajectory in our community. When I think of other things that are going well right now or going better, we got to talk about public safety. I know people process this information emotionally, and some people, people have feelings about this. I get it. Sometimes there is a lag between what the data says and what the perceptions are. The fact of the matter is, for the last 5 years, our numbers have been trending down in all the categories, in particular homicides. Now, you might say, oh, that's not fair. There have been 6 homicides so far in Toledo, but you're comparing it right there to the 37 from last year. That makes it look that things are better than they are. Well, let's compare apples to apples and talk about where we were on April 8th of last year. The fact of the matter is we had 9 homicides on April 8th of last year. We have 6 this year. It's a small sample size, but again, that's 33% less. It's gone down and down and down. And when you look at the next slide, you'll see that's happening across the board. For the last 5 years, look at those percentage decreases on everything. So again, sometimes perception is as important as reality sometimes. And if people aren't feeling safe, well, then it doesn't matter what these stats are. But you have to begin with the reality of better outcomes when it comes to safety. And I think that is something that we can and should celebrate. Infrastructure is another area where we have seen improvements and investment. You've heard me talk about this graph. I'm going to talk about it again. 2 years before I became mayor in 2016, the city of Toledo did not resurface a single road, not one road. 0 roads, $0 and 0 cents were spent fixing our roads. You can see that it was kind of a catch as catch can system back then. Some years they did okay. Often those were known as election years. But some years they did 0. That just wasn't sustainable and it wasn't getting the job done. Then in November of 2020, the citizens stepped up and passed the Toledo Roads Levy. And since then, just like that, our numbers have grown 15-fold. So now every year, year after year, routinely without drama, we are spending $25, $30 million fixing our roads, and we're fixing 40 lane miles, 45 lane miles, 50 lane miles every year, year after year. 15 times more than we did the year before the levy passed, and a literal infinite amount more than they did in 2016. Are we where we want to be on roads? Of course not. We got a lot more to go, but no one can say that we're not moving the right direction. That's one kind of infrastructure. Parks are another important part of infrastructure, in my opinion. We have 127 of them in our community. 70 of them, over half, 55%, have seen major upgrades. And those upgrades, in every case, have involved making them inclusive so that all kids can enjoy them. If you've been by Ottawa Park, for instance, and see what we've done there, making that a place that kids of all different abilities can enjoy, it really warms your heart, I'll tell you, and it's a part of an improvement in our infrastructure that I think makes a difference. You talk about improvements of infrastructure, you got to talk about the Wayman Palmer YMCA. I know we talked about it last year because it was going to open. Well, it has opened, and already, and the city, remember, took the lead on that, building it, paying for it. We really did. And already in its first year of existence, it's won a national award for its excellence. There is, when it's working well, an intersection between infrastructure and economic development. Sure, it's important fixing roads. I want to fix roads. We all want to fix roads. But when it works best, our infrastructure improvements can catalyze a turnaround of an entire neighborhood. I think the analogy that I've used in the past, and I've heard others use, is that of a heart. It's a little bit of a sloppy analogy, but stick with me. If Toledo is the heart of Northwest Ohio, as I think most people agree that it is, or if the downtown of Toledo is maybe the heart of the city, well, then we want that heart, that civic heart, from an urban design standpoint, to act the way an actual heart does. What does an actual heart do? It pumps blood throughout the body down important arteries or veins. All right, let's follow this analogy. What then, if downtown Toledo is the heart of our city, if Toledo is the heart of the region, what are those civic arteries that need energy pumped through? I think if downtown is the heart, and I think a lot of people can see the downtown is so much better than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. But what we really need for people to feel this resurgence is for it to matter in the neighborhoods, for it to get to the neighborhoods. Well, for that to happen, we need to pump that energy through our civic arteries. Certainly Monroe Street is one of those arteries. So my dad is literally asleep in the front row. So just so you know that I'm keeping the attention of all the important people. It's his birthday in 2 days. I mean, give him a break. So I get the message. I understand I'm not the most dynamic speaker. I'm trying to get through a lot of his stuff here. All right. Sarah, maybe bump him next time he falls asleep. Certainly Monroe Street is one of our civic arteries. So is Broadway. So is Cherry Street, but so is Broadway. Look at Broadway here. Broadway is so important in terms of connecting downtown to the zoo. And so if we can have the energy downtown and have it sort of flow down that artery, that corridor. That's why around Danny Thomas Park and the Ripken Field, that all of these investments matter. It is that intersection between infrastructure and economic vitality that we seek. It's not just along Broadway, and again, I've already talked about Cherry and Monroe Street. The RAISE grant that is seeking to connect uptown to the Junction neighborhood, Adams and Dorr Street will do that. That is an important artery. In the downtown, Huron and Madison, look what we're doing there. That is happening in our city. Here's what it is going to look like. And actually, let's focus on where we are right now. Sort of in front of me and behind you is Summit Street. If downtown is sort of working well right now, Summit Street is another artery, kind of the opposite of the direction Broadway goes. We need that energy and that excitement on Summit Street so that it can spill down through Vistula, where we are now, into Point Place. And actually, though this work is underway, in fact, I think you might be hearing some of the work behind me right now. There are some folks who aren't waiting for the work to be done in order to be a part of this, that they are choosing Toledo even from a distance, sight unseen. There's a gentleman named Paul Rucina who's not here tonight. You know why he's not here tonight? Because he lives in California. He's still in California. I don't know if he's ever visited Toledo, though I suspect he has. I do know this. He owns something called Green Products Packaging, but he's kind of done with California. He's had about enough of the high costs and the vibe, and he said, and he literally got on the internet, started playing around and doing some research on affordability and access to workforce, and he said, the heck with it. I'm going to buy some property at 3600 North Summit, which is right over there, and I'm going to make a $2 million investment and bring those jobs from California to Toledo. That's, it's to some extent, anecdote is not the singular of data. I get that. But again, what we're hearing again and again is that people are choosing Toledo. We might not see it ourselves. Sometimes we're our own worst critics, but there are examples of folks choosing our community. I would say the last thing I want to focus on sort of the positive things that we have going right now, and we're going to get to the challenges here in just a moment. I want to talk very carefully and choose my words carefully about our city finances. Our bond rating is an example of something that we should be proud of. In 2024, the city received an upgrade in its bond rating. We had not received an upgrade in 14 years, so it was a big deal to us. Then last year, in 2025, we doubled down and we got a rating increase back-to-back years. So after going 14 years without one, we get them in back-to-back years, giving us now the best bond rating we've had since 1980. In fact, the only 2 times that the city of Toledo has ever had a better bond rating than we have right now was in 1953, when the city looked like this, and those people going to Titke's would be going to the Imagination Station now. That's where Titke's was, but that's what Toledo looked like. And 1967, when the fiberglass tower was being built in the foreground, and OI was still headquartered in what is now the PNC Bank building. That's what Toledo looked like the last time we had a bond rating as good as the one we have right now. It means that we are managing the tax dollars that the citizens have given us as well as we ever have in this city's history. I know that sounds self-congratulatory, and I want to deflect that credit because it really goes to people like George Sarantu, the chair of our finance committee, city council, who controls the power of the purse under our system, Melanie Campbell, our finance director, Abby Arnold, deputy mayor. The credit goes to others, but the reality is the city of Toledo is managing the resources we have better than we ever have, and the citizens should know that. Now, I'm going to come back in about 45 seconds with a but that's an important statement, and the citizens should know that the tax dollars that they are giving to Government Center are being managed as well as they ever have. I don't know if maybe you don't feel that, maybe you don't ideologically want it to be true. It's true. These trips we make every year, sometimes we go to New York, sometimes we go to Chicago. That group I just talked about, they go and they make a presentation to these, I call them Wall Street folks, and there's no politics. They don't care about red state. They don't care about, these are nerds with visors and pocket protectors, and all they care about are the numbers. And it's almost sort of like defending a PhD, a dissertation for a PhD. You got to make your case, and for them to grade us the way they are is an important data point that I want Toledo to understand. That and the fact that our rainy day fund is so much larger than it was, I think, are encouraging things. A couple years before I was mayor, our rainy day fund had $4 million in it. Right now, it has 15 times the amount. We've grown it in 15-fold in 10 years. There's a but coming on that also, but facts are facts. In the last 10 years, we have grown our rainy day fund 15-fold. So these are all good things. These are good things. They make me feel that we're headed the right direction. They should make you feel that we're headed the right direction. It's one of the reasons that increasingly we see rankings like this. Number 1 in affordability, number 1 for retirees, number 1 for affordable vacations, high on manufacturing. We got, we're not perfect. We got some good stuff going on. However, they're rowing. It's I thought, who knows what I thought, but it seems pretty. I think we're gonna make it. So, and that's good. We got some challenges though. We have some challenges, and let's begin by me telling the rest of the story on our bond rating. I'm not changing what I said earlier. We still have the best bond rating we've ever had, with only 2 exceptions. And that does mean that we are managing the tax dollars that the citizens have given us better than anyone ever has in our city's history. I know that's a big statement, but it's true. That's what that means. That's good. It means we're managing the tax dollars we've been given better than ever before. It does not mean that we have enough resources to meet our basic service needs. Both can be true. We can be managing our nickels as well as we ever have. Doesn't mean we have enough nickels. And in fact, we don't have enough nickels to meet our basic service needs. For at least the last 5 years, at least the last 5 of these speeches, I have been making the point, I'm going to make it again. We do not have a spending problem in the city of Toledo. That's what the folks on Wall Street, that's why they keep giving us the bond rating that we're getting. That's why there's some other data points I'm going to share. Ideologically, you might want it to be the case. Your default setting might just assume it's the case. You know, the pejorative is that government, they spend like drunken sailors. That's just not Toledo's story. We do not have a spending problem in the city of Toledo. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, we already spend less than every other big city in the state. We spend less than Columbus and less than Cincinnati and less than Cleveland, but also less than Dayton and less than Akron. And we spend less on every subcategory too. It's not like we spend less overall, but we actually spend more on police, but we spend so much less on kids that it turns out, no, we spend less on everything. We spend less than every other city. We spend less on police, less on fire, less on kids, less on parks, less on everything. We spend less per capita than any other big city in Ohio. And if you don't believe that, and if you don't believe me, everyone in the last 5 years, as I make the same point, I think what we just went through with the recent budget that City Council just passed last year is the final bit of proof that anyone would need to have proven definitively that spending is not our problem, that we're never going to be able to spend our way out of our problem. And here's what I mean. The budget that we go through is a group project. We meet throughout the year. We put a task force together, the budget task force, City Council, the mayor's office, we work together. We get to the point where in November, by charter, I present a budget to City Council. And so I did. And the budget I presented cut right off the top, $6 million. Because we got to get to it. We always have to be efficient. We got to do it. So it's time to cut. We cut $6 million. City Council, understanding the moment that we're in, said that's not enough. We need more cuts. And so they sent it back to my office. We debated and talked back and, did some things, and they ended up cutting $3 million more. So I started with my $6 million cuts. They had $3 million more. We get to a point, the budget we passed cut $9 million out of it. I mean, that is not easy to do. And we're going to see some service delivery realities because of those cuts. So tough work, really tough. And we're going to see the citizens are going to notice some things that they're going to notice some of those cuts. And you know what those cuts accomplished? Not very much in the grand scheme of things. Do you know why? Because that is our structural budget deficit. So as hard as it was, the back and forth, okay, Mayor, great. I'm glad you cut $6 million. That's not enough. We got to cut more. Here, give it to us. We'll cut $3 million. All right, great. Hooray. Congratulations to all of us. We would have needed to cut 5 times more to get out of that problem. We're never going to get where we need to be if we think that the answer is to cut. We cannot cut our way out of this problem. We need to cut. We always have to be efficient. We always got to cut fat. But we've already cut the fat now. Now we're cutting into the meat and the bones. And when you cut meat and bones, it hurts. The cuts that we've already, because in a civic environment, the meat and the bones is police and fire. We worked about as hard as we ever have and passed our budget with only a few hours to spare and barely made a dent in any of that. If we think we're going to get where we need to be by cutting, that's cool, but just understand that will mean hundreds of police and fire layoffs. Hundreds. Is that what we want? I don't know. That's not what I want. And I don't think that's what the citizens want. Even the cuts we made, the $9 million of cuts we made, it's not police and fire. There's no police and fire largely escaped the axe, but even the cuts we made are going to be felt. It's a small thing, but 2 years ago, 16 times we sent our mowers out and around to mow the vacant lots of Toledo. It's a small thing. To save money, we passed a budget that will send those mowers around 6 times this year. The difference between 16 and 6 might not seem like a lot. I guarantee you the citizens will notice that. When the grass is this high, they'll notice it. Engaged Toledo, there was some confusion. I think some people were confused that Engaged Toledo was going to cease to be a 24/7 operation. That is not true. It's going to continue to be 24/7, but there will be 2 fewer call takers. 2 fewer call takers means it's going to take a little longer to get your complaints addressed. And so already we're seeing some, there's going to be some service hiccups here. And that was with cutting 1/5 of what our gap is. 1/5 of it. There is no way to cut our way out of the problem unless you are comfortable with hundreds of police and fire layoffs. And I don't think anyone is, which is why we have to talk seriously about what we need to do. This year's budget, once and for all, should have solved the riddle, and it should have proven to everyone we cannot cut our way out of the problem. We just can't. What we need is more revenue. We have a revenue problem. All right, well, let's talk about that. Because we have a revenue problem, that is why we are studying an entertainment fee and the possibility of a ticket fee. And that's why there's been discussion of the possibility of a public safety levy this November. And I'm not here to make any announcements tonight, but we have to have that conversation if we want to be honest about where we are. And you have to understand where we get our money from as well. This is a pie chart that demonstrates where the city of Toledo gets its money to provide those basic services. It is true we get a little bit in fees and a little bit in transfers, and we do get a little bit from an unvoted property tax. But the lion's share of what we do comes from an income tax, a payroll income tax. That is the engine that runs city government. So when I talk about solving our revenue challenges, I might just throw this out there and let you think about it. According to the definition of a city being a place where 5,000 people live, there are 253 cities in the state of Ohio. There are 253 places where at least 5,000 people live. In 252 of them, those cities supplement their income tax. In fact, there are the 252 cities listed right there. They supplement the revenue they get from their income tax with one of 3 other revenue streams, either a hotel motel tax, an entertainment or ticket tax, or a voted property tax. 252 out of 253 cities do that. Want to guess the one city that doesn't? It's a much shorter list. Come on, there it is. We're the only city in the state that does not also do that. We have a hotel motel tax, it all goes to the county. We're pondering whether we should have an entertainment fee. We don't have a voted property tax. We just need to have an honest conversation about this because all those other cities, 252 out of 253 cities, help pay for their police and fire and kids and parks by doing those. We don't. I'm not announcing anything tonight. I'm saying we have to stop in a knee-jerk reaction thinking that the way to do this is to cut. We can't cut our way out of it. And we're falling for their trap if we do that. We have to be honest about revenue. And all of this conversation brings us to, some of the challenges we have. And I think there are 2 primary challenges. One, population loss. We know that, we've talked about it. We're not different or unique from any other city in the Great Lakes region of this country, from Buffalo to Milwaukee to Chicago, Detroit, and everywhere in between. Starting at about the mid-60s, people started moving to where it's warm. They started moving to Georgia and Arizona, California, Florida, Texas. It happened to all of us. Doesn't make it feel better, but we're not new. Everyone in this part of the country has felt that population loss. But some of those cities, Buffalo and Detroit among them, have started to turn the corner and grow again. It is time for us to join that list because if revenue is our problem, and it is, the better way to solve that is bringing in more Toledoans, more taxpayers. The other problem we have, and look, it's just fact. It might sound political, it's just fact, and I don't have enough time left in this job to mince words anymore. The other problem we face is that we live in a state and currently in a country that actively works against the best interest of urban America, that actively works against what's in the best interest of Toledo. We'd be better off if they never thought about Toledo. Because in reality, they are thinking. They're waking up every day saying, what can we do to hurt cities? It sounds tough, it sounds harsh. That's what's happening. And here's what I mean. Simon Nee, I think, is here. He's not yet running in the Boston Marathon, even though he will be in a couple Mondays. He's our grants manager. He does a great job, and since we hired him in 2022, he's brought in over $160 million in grants. There he is. I see him right there. He wants to be paid on commission, and I get it. But look at 2024. What is that red checkered area you see above? Well, that's the $28.5 million that the city was awarded, the largest ever grant that we've ever received as a city, and that when the big beautiful bill passed, was taken away. Nothing like that has ever happened before in the history of the city of Toledo. That grant was taken away. I've talked about choices tonight, people choosing Toledo. Well, the folks in Washington made a choice. They are choosing to give tax breaks to Elon Musk, and they are not choosing to invest in the safety of the people in East Toledo and the 222 building trades workers who would have built that project. We lost it. It's gone. We can't get it back. They chose Elon Musk over East Toledo. Can't do anything about it, but that's real. That is a real pain that our federal government has inflicted upon us. They're not the answer to any of our problems. Increasingly, they're the cause of our problems. And the same is true with our state government. Now, when people like me complain about funding from the state, they kind of assume that I'm just talking about a loss of local government funds. And that is true, that's part of it. But people need to understand this. It is so much more than that. We have lost from the state of Ohio since 2007, $288 million. And that has come not from a loss of grants, but from a tactical, thoughtful change in tax policy that has conspired to devastate cities like Toledo. Here's what I mean. Before 2007, we used to collect something called a personal property tax. And that money went right to our general fund, paid for police and fire and kids and parks, gone. They took it away from us. We used to collect something called an estate tax and went straight to our general fund, paid for cops and fire and kids and park, gone. They took that away from us. We used to collect something called a transient worker tax. So when something had to be built and a bunch of guys came in from Mansfield to build it, we were able to tax their income. Not anymore. They took that away from us. Red light cameras were a tool for us to keep our citizens safe. Police loved it, brought some money into our general fund. They took that away from us. And yes, they are also taking local government funds away from us. You add that up, we have lost $288 million from the state. You divide that over the 18 years that they've been doing this, we are losing $16 million per year, every year from the state of Ohio. Let me go back to that Jeep plant that I talked about. We love the Jeep plant. It's our iconic employer, and it is working at full capacity right now. There are 4,300 employees working there. Those 4,300 employees, do you know how much money their income tax contributes to our general fund? About $12 million. That's great. That's big. I love it. We need it. We're proud of it. But if you understand what the state has done to us, essentially every year for the last 18 years, they have imposed financial pain on the city consistent with closing the Jeep plant, actually closing about 1.25 Jeep plants per year. Think about what would happen if the Jeep plant actually closed. And thank God it's not. Again, it's moving the other direction. We're adding 900 jobs. But think about what that would mean emotionally, psychologically to our city. Think about what it would mean financially. Well, what it means financially is happening to us. It happens every year. They do it to us every year. And by the way, next year, they're going to close another Jeep plant. The year after, they're going to close another Jeep plant. It happens quietly. My guess, I don't know how many people are here tonight, but if there's 75, I'd be shocked if 4 of them knew what I just said. And so we in city government are just supposed to bite our lip and take it. All right? Do more with. But even when you're at the best at this, even when you are managing the tax dollars better than has ever been done before in the history of the city of Toledo, you get to a point where it's hard to keep your nose above water when they close our Jeep plant every year. Some people say, well, we need to create more jobs. And it's true, we do need to create more jobs. Let's go back to Jeep, okay? We're getting 900 more jobs. Certainly that will solve our problems, right? Those are Jeep jobs. Those are good union jobs and high wage and great, we're all set. You know how much general fund money we're gonna get from those 900 jobs? 1.2 million, all right? So we do need to create jobs. If we think Jeep jobs are going to solve our problem, we don't need 900, we need 37,000 Jeep jobs. Only there does our deficit go away, all right? We have to come to peace with the fact that no one in Washington or Columbus are coming to save us. They are not coming to solve the problem. They are causing the problem. They've made their choice clear. They have chosen Elon Musk over Toledo. They have chosen tax breaks to the billionaire class over East Toledo, over construction workers, and that's fine. I'm done. Screw them. Who cares? I don't care about them anymore. The politicians in Washington and Columbus, they do not care about Toledo, but that's okay because we care about Toledo. We can do this. We care about Toledo. They aren't coming to save us. We're here to save us. We'll do this ourselves because we have everything we need right here. Well, the question is, okay, how do we do this? How do we do it? Well, it's just like anything else in life. We need a plan, and we got to follow that plan. Tonight, I am releasing for the first time publicly our strategic plan for my final term in office. It is a blueprint for how we get to our North Star of 300,000 people by 2045. And it's being released publicly tonight. If I'm going to just breeze through it at a very high level, but every specific policy proposal, and there are dozens of them, can be found on our website. If you want to spend the time to do that, you can find it there. But everything we do in our organization is based around these 5 strategic priorities, and you see them on the screen. Yes, we need to build safe, vibrant, and connected neighborhoods. What does that mean? Well, it means housing. It means less crime in our neighborhoods. It means improving parks, growing our urban forest. Of course, we need an economic development. We need to promote economic growth and inclusive opportunity. What does that mean? Well, we need jobs, but we need those jobs to matter in the neighborhoods. We need to connect those jobs to neighborhoods, and we have to make it easier to do business in Toledo. Service delivery, of course, is important. Well, what does it mean to deliver exceptional city services and modernize infrastructure? We have to prioritize communication with our citizens. We have to improve our city-owned infrastructure, city finances. We have to secure our city's financial future. That means a lot of things, and in the plan, it is spelled out. But certainly, we have to grow and diversify our income streams. We can't be too reliant on any one industry. Our North Star is growing our population to 300,000 by 2045, and everything we do is tied to one of those 5 strategic priorities. Again, if you want to learn more about it, toledo.oh.gov/2045. A editorial writer for The Blade moments before the speech said, "What am I going to be writing about in my editorial on Sunday?" This might be a good thing to write about. Write about our specific point-by-point plan for how we're going to accomplish these goals. The fact of the matter is, this is how we do things. This is how we think about things. This is how we talk about things. They're all aligned, and they've always been aligned. Neighborhoods, economic development, city services, finances. They're not silos in and of themselves. They're linked. To accomplish all of these goals, we need to add more Toledoans. If revenue is our problem, and if I haven't made the case yet, I don't know what more I need to say. But if it is, you can fix that by adding more taxes and fees, which no one wants to do, or you can fix that by adding more Toledoans, which everyone should want to do. How do we do it? We implement our strategic plan. And the reason we're here tonight, leave it to me to save to the final 8 minutes why the heck we're here. The reason we're here tonight is because this strategic plan is already being implemented. What we are standing in right now represents the first step that has been taken in a dozens of step plan to get us to where we need to go. This is a site, this is a warehouse that in the past has served as the Blades distribution center when it printed papers. It currently serves as an auto parts sort of light manufacturing. You can see that those things are on their way out. At one point, it actually served as a dog food factory. It has been owned by a number of different private entities over the years. It now is owned by us. It is now publicly controlled by the public, specifically in the form of the Toledo Community Improvement Corporation, the TCIC. You might remember last October we talked about this. This is an entity that was created through the best spirit of regional cooperation to help achieve Toledo's long-term needs when it comes to jobs and housing. When people hear regional cooperation, they might think about the Regional Water Commission we created my first year as mayor, and that's great. But that was really a model for how we can do this across the board. And it is happening in the context of housing and economic development through the TCIC in a better way than anything I could think of. The fact of the matter is, let's talk about regional cooperation. We as a city, we got a bunch of water. We don't have a lot of land for new housing and job opportunities. A place like Rossford, they got a lot of land. They got lots of soybean fields, but no water. So we came together, worked out a contract that basically said this: look, Toledo, we will give you, Rossford, water to help you attract jobs because you have more space to do that than we do. Here's the deal. When those jobs arrive, we get a percentage of the income tax. They said, yep, that sounds fair. Let's do it. For most of the time that that contract was in place, we didn't derive much income tax from it because there was not much going on in that tax sharing zone. But then all of a sudden, Amazon fell from the sky. And now, from that Amazon location, which is not even located in the city of Toledo, we received $5 million of income tax from that. And every year for the next 35 years, we get $1 million more. Not the city, not the taxpayers of Toledo, from the taxpayers of Rossford. And they are happy to do it because that Amazon wouldn't be there without our water. Those dollars went to the CIC. Right now, the CIC has $5 million in it. But the CIC went to City Council, and City Council has agreed to bond on that. So probably within a month, we think maybe by May 19th, we won't have $5 million in there. We'll have somewhere between $20 and $25 million in that account. This money is not taxpayer money from the city of Toledo. If anything, it is taxpayer money from the citizens of Rossford. You might say, well, you got to pay those bonds back. Yes, the TCIC has to pay those bonds back, and they'll be paying those bonds back with tax receipts from the citizens of Rossford. The city of Toledo is out nothing on this. We are nothing but winners on this. There's no impact on the city's general fund. We reap the benefit of what within a month is going to be an entity that has $25 million in it. Oh, that sounds great. What are you going to do with it? Well, to begin, we're going to acquire an old dog food factory that we think has a brighter future than dog food. The Toledo CIC owns this now. That's the hook. That's why we're here. This is the first example of what that TCIC is going to do. It is going to acquire places like this and then do something with it. Well, boy, that's specific. The something could change. A lot of times, the something is going to be job related. To acquire that land and to clean that land, if there are job opportunities that can be had from that, we'll do that. But it increasingly could be housing. And we know from our studies that when it comes to demand and supply, Toledo doesn't have a demand problem. We have a supply problem. People want to be here. People want to choose Toledo. Our studies show that. We would have more Toledoans living here if we had more places for them to live. We've brought about 2,000 new units online. You think of the Grand and the Glen and the Colony and the Marina Lofts and projects like this. We've brought about 2,000 online. We need 5 times that amount. That's why these resources can be used to stoke either economic development or housing here on the riverfront, where it's as attractive as it ever could be, or whether it's the Four Corners or other examples like that. It's called the Shovel Ready Sites Fund. And it is part of what we have already started to do. We think that we're going to have this work done. This $25 million to acquire and clean land will be done by the end of the year. We're here today because we've already started. Who knows what this space can be? This building will be demolished. We know that. Who knows what will be here? It could be jobs. It could be housing. Heck, if I'm to believe what I read in The Blade, there could be a 7,000-seat soccer stadium here. Regardless, it will be good for the citizens of Toledo to own property in and around these places. We had no mechanism to do that before. Now we do, and we don't even have to use money from the taxpayers to do it. This is a huge opportunity to go forward, and it is a fundamental part of our plan going forward. The work we have done has gotten us recognized. It really has. It's caused people around the country and around the world to believe in Toledo again, even if sometimes we don't believe in ourselves. They are choosing Toledo. So whether you are deciding where to locate your priceless coin collection or where to host your national golf tournament or where to headquarter your Fortune 500 company or where you want to live, Toledo is increasingly where people want to see their future. Remember, people want to live in Toledo. That's what our studies show. There's not enough places for them to live. We need more housing. That's what this fund can do. People are choosing Toledo, or if they're not, they're wanting to choose Toledo, and we have not provided them the infrastructure to do it. It is up to us to continue the job and to build what that future will look like. We can do it because we've done it before. God bless all of you. God bless my sleepy dad and my wife, Sarah, and members of City Council, and God bless the great city of Toledo, Ohio. Thank you.